India, a nation on the surge, one of the oldest civilizations on earth, is embracing the dawn of the future. To sustain this growth, India needs oil, a lot of oil, and the ability to refine it quickly and efficiently. Responding to this challenge, the Guru Gobind Singh Refinery was set up in a record time of 4 years, making it the fastest oil refinery to be built in India. Today, what stands in the middle of agrarian heartland of Punjab is an industrial superstructure powering lives across the country. Close to 50 degrees Celsius, almost 9 degrees lower than the highest temperature ever recorded on the planet. Bhatinda is reeling under a severe heat wave. This small town in the scorching North India barely shows any sign of activity. But inside the Guru Gobind Singh Refinery, work cannot stop. Humans and machines sweat it out 24/7. At stake is the health of one of the fastest growing economies in the world.
This refinery is feeding the consumer of this country. There is a deficit of petroleum products like petrol, diesel, LPG, kerosene in this part of the country. So this refinery is catering the needs of the consumer directly as well as the industries so as to give employment and industrialization in this region.
When you step into your kitchen at home, right away you see the stove. The LPG that you use to cook, that's one of the products that we make at this refinery. Anything that you have in your kitchen, from the refrigerator to the food in it, was transported to your home by trucks that use petrol and diesel. Almost everything in your kitchen has somehow been influenced or made of petroleum.
The LPG bottled in these cylinders will fuel millions of kitchens across the country. Yours could be one of them. The next flight you take may be running on aviation fuel refined here within these enormous reactors. And the diesel and petrol stored in these tankers will soon be running through the engines of your cars, making your life smooth and fast. It is now noon. In the next 12 hours, 90,000 barrels of oil will be processed at this mega refinery. The daily target is to refine 180,000 barrels of crude, enough to fill 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools. What occupies these 2,000 acres, the size of over 1,100 football fields, is a formidable giant of concrete and steel. This mega enterprise has gobbled over 1,15,000 metric tons of structural steel, the weight of around 15 Eiffel Towers.
This seamlessly active flare beams at a tower standing at 140 meters tall, almost twice the height of Qutub Minar.
And it does not stop at that. The maze of pipes crisscrossing this superstructure can cover a staggering distance of over 3,200 kilometers, approximately the length from the northern to the southern tip of the country. Now this steel structure may stand to dominate the landscape and skyline, but to build this giant steel and concrete structure was a momentous task. Year 2007, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited (HPCL) and Mittal Energy Investment join hands to form Hindustan Mittal Energy Limited and start work under the HMEL banner. Their purpose is daring. Turn a barren piece of land into a mega refinery. Normally, a refinery takes anything upwards of 5 years for completion. But Hmel aims to get this superstructure ready within 4. If achieved, it will be the fastest in India. But the challenges are daunting. Both infrastructure and organization have to be built from scratch. And to achieve it in 4 years, conventional practices have to be done away with. Engineers select the concurrent approach over the commonly used serial approach for construction.
In a concurrent approach, you would decide on the items to be bought first, you would do the engineering in parallel, and when you are doing the execution, you would mate the two so that the final product is what is required, or the final project is what you require. So that's what a concurrent approach is.
Building a refinery is not as simple as making a house. Highly combustible liquids and gases will run through this complex web of pipes and reactors. Even the slightest of negligence can result in a catastrophe. Attention has to be paid to the minutest details while setting up this colossal structure.
All pipes and vessels were insulated to maintain stable and desired temperatures. And all high pressure systems and joints were tested for torquing and tensioning to ensure against leakage.
For building a refinery of this size and magnitude in a short period of 4 years, as it was planned and it was executed, the major task which was required was to muster the resources, and we had to, at the extreme conditions, had almost 35,000 employees, workmen working at a time during its peak. Creating that kind of workforce working 24 hours a day, if that was not done, we would not have achieved the targets what we had planned for.
But dealing with labor and weather is one of the many challenges that come while building a structure of this scale and magnitude.
To save precious time, an on-site pressure vessel and reactor fabrication shop was created to forge these reactors. But 3 of these giant reactors
Required specialized forging plants located over 1,000 kilometers away from the installation site. And transporting them all the way to Bhatinda was a Herculean task.
The Indian road infrastructure is not capable of handling such heavy loads. The flyovers, the bridges, if the reactor moves over it, it will break down. So, for crossing every flyover or bridge, one has to make bypass. In the long journey of 1500 kilometers, we had to construct about 60 bypasses. So every single thing had to be planned. We had to remove the divider of the road, reconstruct it. Similarly, we had to broaden the road at the turns, make a larger radius to take a longer turn. The electric wires had to be removed, electric poles had to be removed, shutdown had to be taken from authorities. This part of the northern India has rains in July, and if the rain takes place, all these bypasses will get washed out, the rivers will get flooded, canal will also get flooded. The whole movement will get stranded for about 3 months. It was so critical, the whole project schedule will go haywire. Sometimes the balconies of the houses which were there on the way had to be removed, compensation had to be given. So many small activities had to be coordinated to see that the movement takes place seamlessly. Unless all these things are done concurrently, the movement cannot take place.
On July 1st, 2010, after 119 days on the road, the reactors reach Bhatinda, 1 day ahead of the scheduled time. In the middle of lush green fields of Bhatinda stands this superstructure, powering lives of millions of Indians across the northern part of the country. As early as 1996, Bhatinda was selected as the site for the construction of this mega refinery to meet energy shortfall in North India. But there was one major disadvantage. India majorly depends on import for crude oil. Huge ships carrying crude from different parts of the world dock on Indian ports. From here, crude oil is transported to the refineries, mostly located nearby. But the refinery in Bhatinda is a long haul from these coasts. It required nothing short of genius to design a pipeline that will quench the thirst of this mega refinery day in and day out. To collect crude oil from super tankers, a single point mooring system or SPM was installed 10 kilometers offshore Mundra, giving very large crude carriers adequate depth to drop anchor and discharge crude oil to SPM, which in turn diverts the oil into an underwater pipeline located 32 meters below the sea level. Two Chinese lantern-shaped pipes carry the crude oil from the SPM to the underwater pipeline. Their additional length allows the SPM to stay on water even during high tides. After traveling through underwater pipeline for 10 kilometers, the crude oil hits the shore. From the coast, the pipeline stretches another 7 kilometers to reach the crude oil terminal. Different types of crude from world over is collected and stored at the crude oil terminal before it is systematically discharged to reach the refinery at Bhatinda. Besides storage, blending is done at the crude oil terminal. Very heavy crude oil is blended with lighter crude oil at the crude oil terminal. This very heavy crude oil corrodes the insides of the pipeline due to high sulfur content and has to be blended with crude oil that has low sulfur content. Once the blending is done, the crude is ready for a journey of over 1,000 kilometers to Bhatinda. Covering a staggering 1,017 kilometers, engineers built one of the longest underground pipelines in India. It runs across 4 different states to seamlessly supply oil to the refinery at Bhatinda. Two heavy pumping stations located at Mundra in Gujarat and Dhansa in Rajasthan maintain the pressure and ensure a seamless flow of crude oil in the pipeline as it reaches Bhatinda. But building the underground pipeline had its own set of challenges.
To lay the pipeline, cross-country pipeline, is always difficult. We faced a few problems. Like in marshy area, we faced the problem due to limited space. And the second problem we faced when we were doing the river crossing, major river crossing like Narmada and Sujlam Suklam.
Once the crude oil reaches Bhatinda, it is ushered into the crude distillation unit at a minimum of 400 degrees Celsius, the first step of the refining process. Once the boiling point rises, different vapors escape at different temperatures, which are then chemically treated to make them available as finished products. The Fluidized Catalytic Cracking Unit (FCCU) is the heart of the oil refinery. And with good reason. It chemically breaks heavy hydrocarbons to produce various valuable products such as polypropylene.
This FCCU produces propylene. This propylene is converted into polypropylene through polypropylene unit. And this polypropylene is used for making all these products which are around you, like credit card, your mobile phones, like your car dashboards, like buckets, like films. This polypropylene is used in all this around you.
Day in and day out, workers and machines work seamlessly to ensure that this superstructure churns out products on which our world operates. Forged in just over 4 years, this refinery fuels millions of lives across North India and ensures that the chariot of growth never halts. While dealing with such volatile substances, one must always be prepared for the worst. The smallest spark or leakage, even undetected by the naked eye, can put lives at risk, besides leading to billions of dollars of investment burnt to ashes.
Gasoline at 400 degrees in vapor is a very dangerous sounding thing. Yet our guys and our equipment are designed and trained so that we can handle that type of material day in and day out safely. In the event that there is a problem, everybody has been trained in how to react to any type of an emergency.
An elaborate safety system ensures that there are no leaks or sparks, so engineers are always on the watch. Any dip in pressure in the pipeline reflects on the monitors. The potential site of leakage is immediately determined, and a quick response team is dispatched to fix the leak.
We operate a high-risk industry here. With that in mind, we have to have things in place to protect people and equipment. We have billions of dollars of equipment out there and priceless people's lives at risk. We have systems in place where we can react to every situation that occurs. We have alarms that will come to the refinery, to the main fire station here. That will enable us to respond within 3 minutes to any location in the refinery. We can deal with any situation that may arise.
What comes as a black viscous liquid in these pipes and reactors transforms into naphthalene, jet fuel, kerosene and diesel, the materials on which our world operates. Once a batch is refined, samples of various products are tested at the laboratory to ensure that their properties are intact and they are fit for the intended use.
It is the responsibility of the laboratory to make sure that any drop of fuel, if it is moving from the refinery, it must meet the specification. And we are making sure that the product is meeting the specification always at every stage of movement.
Besides refining crude oil, this superstructure even stores, packs and transports its products. These tanks contain diesel and petrol, and soon they will be systematically dispatched through road, rail and pipeline to fuel our lives. A dedicated gauge of rail tracks run through the refinery so cargo trains can come and collect liquid and solid products for dissemination across the country. But to keep this refinery running, a 165 megawatt captive power plant was designed to avoid dependence on external power sources. From refining to packaging to transport, work at this mega refinery carries on seamlessly to meet the demands of over 150 million Indians. As the sun sets, the refinery lights up like a metropolis, like a beam from a lighthouse shining across an empty horizon. Built in just 4 years, the Guru Gobind Singh refinery is the fastest refinery to be constructed in India.
When we started, there was no organization. We were just born in 2007 with 10 people. Building refinery was one of the smaller challenges. The bigger challenge was to build this organization. We have people from 7 countries, 120 organizations coming and helping us out. So I will say the crux of this was team. The team was highly motivated, fully enthusiastic, very dedicated, knowledgeable.
And now, this superstructure is about to shift gears and further increase its production capacity to fuel the country's energy needs.